There are very few figures in modern history whose name means two completely different things at the same time. Jordan Belfort is one of them. Say his name, and millions of people instantly picture excess, confidence, freedom, and rebellion, an outlaw hero who beat the system and lived without limits, and crime into charisma. But there is another Jordan Belfort, one that never became a meme, never inspired cheers in a movie theater, and never received applause. This version exists in court documents, victim testimonies, and financial records. He operated a machine designed to extract money, not create it. A system that rewarded deception, punished trust, and quietly destroyed the savings of thousands of ordinary investors. No slow-motion shots, no music, no celebration, just loss. This documentary is built on a dangerous contradiction. The same man, the same name, but two radically different realities. One was packaged as entertainment, the other was buried under it. And somewhere between those two versions, the truth was reshaped, simplified, and sold back to the public as a story of ambition rather than accountability. The most unsettling part is not what Jordan Belfort did on Wall Street, it's what happened after. Because instead of being erased by his crimes, he was amplified by them. Instead of silence, he gained a microphone. Instead of disgrace, he gained a brand. And today, millions know his story without ever seeing its consequences. So, this is not a story about a movie. It is a confrontation between Jordan Belfort as myth and Jordan Belfort as fact. Between what we were shown and what was carefully left out. When one name can mean both inspiration and devastation, which version do we choose to believe? The version of Jordan Belfort that most people know was not built on Wall Street, it was built in a movie theater. In The Wolf of Wall Street, visible victims. Money appears out of thin air, losses are abstract, the consequences of deception are pushed off screen or played for laughs. What remains in focus is excess private jets, mansions, parties, drugs, and a workplace culture portrayed as wild but oddly empowering. The audience is not asked to judge him, they are invited to live through him. Crucially, the movie places Belfort at the center as the narrator of his own legend. He explains the scams with a wink. He breaks the fourth wall. He controls the rhythm, the jokes, the pacing, and therefore the morality of the story. When the protagonist tells you what to think, accountability dissolves into charm. The line between critique and celebration becomes deliberately blurred. The film also reframes greed as intelligence. Belfort's ability to manipulate, persuade, and dominate conversations is treated as a form of genius. Selling is portrayed as a game. Ethics are framed as obstacles invented by people who didn't make it. This is not accidental. The movie transforms fraud into hustle, manipulation into motivation, and crime into confidence. The viewer is left not with outrage, but with adrenaline. By the time law enforcement appears, the damage has already been done emotionally. The audience has bonded with the character. The FBI agents feel like interruptions, not protectors. Punishment feels symbolic, almost unfair, because the film trained viewers to see Belfort as a rule breaker, not a rule destroyer. This is the first and most important illusion. The movie Wolf is designed to be admired, even when he's exposed. He survives not because he is innocent, but because the story frames him as irresistible. And once admiration replaces scrutiny, the truth no longer stands a chance. Before we ever meet the real Jordan Belfort, the movie has already decided how we feel about him. The most consequential decision in shaping public memory of Jordan Belfort was not what Hollywood showed, but what it chose to remove. In The Wolf of Wall Street, the story is filtered almost entirely through Belfort's own voice. He narrates the rise, the excess, the collapse, and even the punishment. That choice alone shifts power. When the perpetrator controls the narrative, reality bends in his favor. One of the first things erased was the presence of victims. The film contains no sustained attention to the people who lost everything, no families, no retirees, No quiet devastation unfolding far from Wall Street. Loss is abstracted into numbers, jokes, and background noise. By removing faces from the damage, the film removes moral gravity. What remains is motion, energy, and entertainment. Harm becomes invisible, and invisibility becomes forgiveness. Hollywood also reframed intent. In the movie, Belfort's crimes feel impulsive, almost accidental, the byproduct of excess rather than calculation. Viewers are encouraged to believe that things simply got out of hand. The real record tells a different story. Repetition, planning, and institutionalized deception carried out over years. By collapsing time and simplifying motive, the film transforms a long-running fraud into a temporary lapse in judgment. Perhaps the most subtle distortion is tone. Humor is used as insulation. Laughter becomes a shield that prevents discomfort from taking hold. Scenes that should provoke anger are edited for shock value or absurdity. The audience reacts emotionally, but not ethically. This is not accidental storytelling. It is design. Comedy disarms scrutiny. Most critically, the film ends with a form of redemption that never fully existed. Belfort survives. He speaks. He motivates. He sells. The narrative arc suggests consequence, but not reckoning. Prison is brief. Accountability feels symbolic. What lingers is not damage, but charisma. The audience leaves remembering confidence, not collapse. This is how the two Jordan Belforts fully separate. One exists as a polished character shaped for consumption. The other exists in records and testimonies that never made it to the screen. Hollywood did not lie outright, it edited morality. And when morality is edited out of a true story, the result is not just entertainment, it is rehabilitation by omission. When the truth is too uncomfortable to sell, it is quietly rewritten instead. When the real Jordan Belfort was finally sentenced, the punishment appeared severe on paper but limited in reality. 22 months in federal prison for a scheme that caused hundreds of millions of dollars in losses sent a clear signal. Accountability had boundaries. Belfort agreed to cooperate, to testify against former partners, and to assist in asset recovery. The system closed the case. Legally, the story was finished, but socially and economically, it was only beginning. Prison did not end Belfort's influence, it repositioned it. Upon release, he did not disappear into obscurity. He re-emerged with a new identity, the reformed insider, the man who had seen the dark side and returned with lessons to sell. What had once been evidence of wrongdoing was reframed as experience. What had been fraud became expertise. The same skills that once manipulated investors were now marketed as tools for success. This transformation was not accidental. It was strategic rebranding. Belfort leaned into the notoriety, not away from it. Speaking engagements, sales seminars, consulting fees, and online courses followed. His past was no longer a liability, it was the product. Audiences were told they weren't learning from a criminal, but from someone who had paid the price and earned the right to teach. The line between rehabilitation and monetization blurred completely. The ethical tension sits here. While victims were still attempting to recover losses many never fully did, Belfort was building a new revenue stream directly tied to the story of his crimes. Punishment ended, profit resumed, and in many cases, the platform was larger than ever. Fame, once achieved, proved remarkably durable. This is where the two versions of Jordan Belfort begin to converge again. The movie amplified his image. The speaking circuit sustained it. The public, primed by entertainment, accepted the narrative of redemption without demanding restitution equal to the damage done. Accountability became symbolic rather than proportional. In financial crime, this is a rare but powerful outcome. Not every offender gets a second act, but those who do and who control their story can convert exposure into opportunity. Belfort did not deny his past. He repurposed it. And that raises the most uncomfortable question of all. If a crime can be transformed into a career, where does punishment truly end? By this point, The comparison between the two versions of Jordan Belfort reveals a paradox that is more unsettling than the crimes themselves. The original Wolf of Wall Street was dangerous because he stole money. The later version may be more dangerous because he rewrote what that theft means. When fraud becomes a chapter in a success story, the moral lesson collapses. In the public imagination, Belfort is no longer primarily a criminal. He is a survivor, a teacher, a motivator. His past is framed as a mistake rather than a strategy, a detour rather than a system. This shift matters because it changes how society interprets financial crime itself. If enough confidence, charisma, and storytelling can turn large-scale fraud into a comeback narrative, then consequences become negotiable. The most powerful transformation is not legal, it is cultural. Belfort's story now circulates in business seminars, podcasts, and social media clips as proof that ambition, taken to extremes, is forgivable if it produces insight later. The victims fade further into the background, replaced by applause and inspiration. Harm becomes abstract. Success remains visible. This is the final inversion. The early Jordan Belfort exploited financial systems. The later Jordan Belfort exploits attention. One version extracted money from investors. The other extracts value from notoriety itself. And unlike stock fraud, this second model operates fully in the open, protected by entertainment, free speech, and the public's appetite for redemption stories. The danger lies in what this teaches, not just about Belfort but about the rules, that if the punishment is brief, the storytelling strong, and the platform large enough, reputation can be laundered just like money. That accountability is not about damage caused, but about how well the narrative is managed afterward. This is why the most dangerous version of Jordan Belfort is not the man on Wall Street in the 1,990 seconds. It is the man who stands on stage today, proof that in modern culture, a crime does not have to be erased to be rewarded, it only has to be reframed. When success can outlive harm, what message does that send to the next wolf? In the end, the story of Jordan Belfort is not just about fraud, punishment, or even redemption. It is about who gets to define the meaning of success. Wall Street did not defeat him. Prison did not silence him. Public exposure did not erase him. Instead, each stage became a transition, another chapter in a narrative that he ultimately learned to control. The movie did not end his story. It completed the transformation. By turning real harm into entertainment, it separated consequence from memory. The audience walked away, energized, amused, even inspired, while the damage that made the story possible remained largely unseen. And in that gap between spectacle and reality, the final victory took shape. Jordan Belfort did not disappear after his crimes. He adapted. He understood something essential about modern culture. Attention is a currency, and storytelling can be more powerful than truth. When crime becomes content, and content becomes profit, accountability no longer looks like justice, it looks like branding. This is why The Wolf of Wall Street is not a cautionary tale in the traditional sense. It is a mirror. It reflects a system where charisma can outweigh consequences, where narrative can outrun facts, and where punishment can be temporary but fame is permanent. If this is how the story ends, then the most unsettling question remains unanswered. Did the wolf lose, or did he simply learn how to win a different way?